Welcome back to Cohen and Kerr. We're here with Mark Dudenhefer, who is the candidate for supervisor in the Garrisonville district. And we're asking him questions. We normally have a debate, but Mark came today, so we're making sure that he gets his voices out there. And so we're having him today. A quick question. Recently, there have been discussions about the Regional Transportation Authority with a tax to raise for regional projects. Where do you come down on that?
It's not a new idea. It's something we've been talking about for many, many years. When I was chairman of the Fredericksburg Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, we had lengthy discussions. The biggest proponent of that at this point, that's the most vocal, is Matt Kelly, who's on the city council in Fredericksburg. I understand and know both sides of that issue. They're very complicated. It's not going to happen overnight because you're basically giving a non-elected body the ability to raise taxes. And I find that to be an extremely hard pill to swallow. I think that everyone who raises taxes or has a taxing authority should have accountability to the public, and it becomes difficult when you have an authority like that. But they've used authorities in Northern Virginia in a lot of ways. There's a way of getting, we're not going to solve the problem of any of our transportation issues without more money. You got to have money. So you eventually have to decide whether it's an authority, what exactly it is that we're going to do to work to fix the transportation. I voted for the transportation bill that Bob McDonald put forward in the House of Delegates, and it's funding the over $1 billion worth of projects that are here in Stafford County right now. Without it, we would be still looking at a list of things we needed to do, and none of them would be getting done. So it did raise gasoline prices slightly. It did, there were a bunch of fees and different things in it, but we're seeing the results. And specifically, Stafford County is seeing some terrific results that have come from that. So I think there's a tremendous amount of discussion that goes out there. I personally don't believe there's the political will yet to do it. It's going to take a lot of study. There's going to have to be a lot of compromise and bending to even get it on the table to where it becomes a viable alternative.
A developer's request for tax incentives for Aquia Town Center recently was the center of controversy. What is your position on when tax incentives should be used to attract businesses to the county?
Well, I totally oppose both episodes where they gave the Aquia Town Center, they gave them about $6 million in incentives, and then they came back and wanted $16 million. I totally opposed both of those. I think the only time I would entertain that type of an incentive, if it's bringing a business to Stafford that would bring in a lot more outside money to here that's unique to the county. I think about like a Tanger Outlets or something like that creates new revenue not from the taxpayers here, but mostly from people who come out. Obviously, we don't need another grocery store. We have a very difficult time sometimes delineating between needs and wants. So at this point, I didn't see any advantage to giving them that. I guess the negotiations finally fell apart, but the board voted to move forward with it. It fell apart in the negotiating stage with the administration. So I can tell you, I wouldn't have voted for those, and I will be very cautious in the future for doing anything like that.
All right. And we're getting close to the time where you could sort of give your closing sales pitch. So for a quick question, what are your top priorities as you're running for supervisor?
I think it's important that we get back on track with transportation. One thing that we're having an issue with now is there are no transportation projects that are in the next 6 years that they want to fund. The projects that they should be working on now are the ones that'll follow on to all the ones that are being done now. And I don't feel there's been the leadership to push push that cart along to where we have another set to maintain the momentum of the road projects that we need to do in the future. So I will be diligent in being a leader in doing that, as I have been for a number of years. I think it's important we put away all of our swords on the fighting between the Board of Supervisors and the school board, and let's get together and sit down. I consider myself a personal friend with every school board member, so I think I can do that. I think they'll tell you they want to work with me, and I think there are some solutions out there we can do. Several of them have been bouncing around. Some of them not so good, and some of them are really good. So we'll see where we can go with that. So with those two things, plus the getting control again of the development that's coming, the new development that we do have some control over, I think is important.
Okay, we need to keep control over the segment, and we have about 2 minutes left, so we'll give you a chance to speak what you want to say to the voters.
Okay. Well, Tom, people out there, I think I have a reputation of being a leader, of also being a person who works and can work with people, even on the other side of the aisle. When I announced that I was going to not run for re-election on the House of Delegates, more Democrats got up and lauded the things that I work with and my ability to work with them, than Republicans actually got up and talked. And that has nothing to do with me turning over my values. It just had to do with they knew they could come talk to me and we could work through a number of issues and stuff like that. Another thing that's important I think I bring is my ability to create relationships and build relationships that are important in any kind of negotiation. You only have to look at getting Trump and Putin together, and they look to kill each other. I mean, they're not going to make a lot of progress. I don't believe in doing that. I believe in working together, listening to what people have to say, seeing if we can come together with solutions that are workable, and stop advertising the ones that don't have a chance of winning or working just for political purposes. We need to move away from that. So leadership, the ability to make relationships that work, and I also am a very common sense person. So.
All right. And we thank you for coming, Mark Dudenhefer, and we appreciate you watching us as we deal with our election. Cohen and Kerr will continue with its having debates of various candidates, as well as when we have to, having interviews with each candidate. We have invited Ms. Sellers to also have a chance to speak to us, and we hope that you will take a chance and watch Cohen and Kerr. Excellent job, everybody.